Hi honeys, it's Michelle. In today's video, I will be doing another recap of 90 Day Fiance the Other Way. There are spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen last night's episode, be sure to go watch that before you watch this video. Tim and Melyza. First, we see Tim and his cat getting on a plane and heading to Colombia. Then next, we see Melyza and her environment in Colombia, talking about everything that has taken place with her and Tim up until this point. And it's really interesting to hear her side of the story. I have to say, though, I really like her. And they show Melyza and her mom talking about Tim arriving, and Melyza's mom is just really not on board with her daughter giving Tim another chance. She feels that once cheating has taken place, there's really no chance at real trust or a healthy relationship. And I really can't say I disagree with her. I don't blame her for feeling that way at all. I think any mom is going to feel that way. Now, because I like Melyza, maybe there's something to Tim that I'm not seeing. There's something she sees in him that I don't see, I guess, which is understandable. She did mention, though, that one of the things that really made her fall for Tim was how much he makes her laugh, which I can understand that. That's one of the reasons that I fell for my husband. So maybe there's another side to him that we haven't seen yet. So we'll see what happens. I am kind of the same belief as her mother, though. I really don't think that most relationships can get through cheating. Maybe this one's different. Maybe they're one of the 100, one out of 100 that can last through something like this. But I think both parties have to really want to make it work for it to work. And he seems kind of unsure of everything. He doesn't seem like he really wants to dive in. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I don't really have high hopes for this couple. Brittany and Yazan. In last night's episode, we see Brittany and Yazan in the car having yet another argument. They're both very upset. Obviously, she's really upset too. He says that his parents don't think that she respects him. I don't think that's an unfair statement. I don't think that she respects him, especially not in the culture that they're talking about. I feel like if she really had respect for him, she might have taken the time to understand his culture and his religion before arriving there. It just has kind of a I don't care vibe to it. Then she starts talking about how she's really upset that she doesn't understand the culture and he needs to know that. Well, right, we all get that you don't understand the culture. That's the problem. Why did you do nothing to learn about this? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, if you find out you're pregnant, you read what to expect when you're expecting. You go and you buy diapers and you buy clothes and you get prepared. You do everything you can think of to learn about babies and to figure out how to handle this bundle of joy that's heading your way. To me, it's the same thing if you're planning on moving somewhere, a different state, a different country, whatever. It's important to learn about where you're moving. I don't know how you don't do this. And if you're going to be in a relationship with someone who is a completely different religion and culture to you, it seems fair that one would expect you to learn about these things before you go and get married to the person. I just don't think that she's taking this whole thing seriously. She kind of reminds me of a teenager. Then he takes her to their new apartment, and he's really just taking her there to drop her off because they can't stay together until they're married. It's a really nice apartment. I wanted to see more of it. And he has all these rose petals laid out going down the hallway and up onto the bed, and then a heart shape on the bed. And she sees all of it and says, "Oh, wow." And then he says, "Yeah, isn't this great? I'm going home, though, for the night." And I thought, oh, now maybe this is an American thing, but I kind of thought when somebody sets up a romantic situation like that with the flowers, and I don't know if there was candles or not, but usually at least here, if there's flowers and candles and champagne, that means you're going to have a romantic evening with someone. So that was kind of weird that he set her up for a romantic evening alone. But okay, I mean, if that works for her. Unless maybe they did have some romantic time and they just didn't show us. And then the last thing he tells her in the episode is that he has an uncle who's been around people who aren't from Jordan, and he thinks that he might be able to talk him into talking to his dad and getting him to be more open-minded and accepting towards her. I'm not holding my breath for that one, though. His parents seem very set in their ways. I mean, they were really, really pissed off at her. Kenny and Armando. We got to see a lot of Kenny and Armando last night, and it was wonderful because not only did they finally get to reunite, which was very touching, but we also got to see them together. So it was really wonderful. And I have to keep mentioning, Kenny's dog is just the cutest little puppy ever. I can't remember his dog's name. I'll have to look it up. But I just love this cute little apartment, the cute dog, the cute couple, lots of cuteness. Kenny mentions that they have no central heat or central air conditioning, and that this will definitely take a little while to get used to. Armando tells him that he looked into it and he found out that the closest bank to their new home is 30 miles away. And I can see why Kenny is a little shocked and overwhelmed by this. I think moving to anywhere new is a shock, but especially a new country. And there's just so many comforts that we have here in America, and we just take them for granted. I think next time I go to the bank, I'm going to think of that situation and feel very grateful that my bank is, I think, 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the road. Then they show Kenny and Armando the first morning after they've had their first night together in their new apartment, and they look very happy. They look like they've got vacation smiles, which good for them. I'm happy to see that they're happy to be together again. And I just think it's so wonderful to see a couple who's really happy together. Then they go out to have, I'm assuming it's like brunch or something, and they're walking around, and I can see Kenny is quite perplexed. Things are just very different in Mexico than they are here, especially if you go to a part of Mexico that's not a tourist area. It's going to be totally different. I can't even imagine. I've only been to the tourist areas, so I don't know. But seeing the footage of it, I was surprised. It definitely looks different. I was surprised at little things like the amount of dogs just walking around on the street, stray dogs. You definitely don't really see that here in America. Owners are usually with their dogs, or they're on or the dogs are on a leash, or they're in their yard, or what have you. You don't really see a whole lot of stray dogs walking around. So I thought that was interesting. And then it looked like the street they were walking down was a dirt street, which I also don't see a whole lot of. And then they had a candy vendor walking around with this big, I don't know, it just looked like a display case, but full of candy, and you could just buy whatever pieces of candy you wanted. They weren't like wrapped or anything. I thought that was kind of neat, though. And then they revealed that Kenny is a real germaphobe, and I can relate to that. No judgment on my end here, but I thought it was so funny when Armando said, "You're too much of a germaphobe. I mean, people wash their hands," and Kenny said, "I don't know that, though." And I could not stop laughing. That's exactly how I feel. I don't know that people are washing their hands. How many times have you gone to the restroom in a public restroom, and seen people not wash their hands? And especially now, I know this was filmed before the outbreak, but especially now, I'm assuming nobody washes their hands. And if I was a germaphobe before, I really am now. I think we all are now. Now we're not judging each other for being germaphobes, right? They went into a store And this lady was kind of talking to them about other stores in the area and pesos as opposed to dollars and that kind of stuff. And I just thought she was just so cute. Just this adorable lady. She was so nice too. So then Kenny sits down when they go to have their brunch and he says, "What kind of food do they serve here?" Which I just thought was so funny. What kind of food do they serve here? Well, you're in Mexico, so once again, us Americans are so spoiled. So I think that if Kenny wants to have food that isn't Mexican, he's probably just going to have to try to make it at home. And it's just another reminder of how spoiled we are here. We have any kind of food even at our disposal here. It's just kind of nice. I guess it's one of the perks of being here. We have so many different types of cultures of food here. Yeah, I think that that's probably the best compromise you're going to find living in a different country, is just cooking the kinds of foods that you're accustomed to at home, if you can find the ingredients. And then it's just very clear that Armando's trying to show Kenny his culture, and Kenny's getting super overwhelmed by it. And I can't say I blame him. I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed by different cultures. I know I felt that way. Just even moving from Florida to Las Vegas, the culture was so different here that it was kind of shocking. So I completely understand what he means, or especially going to a different country like that. Yes, all that Kenny can really do is try to be open-minded about what he's experiencing and try to highlight in his mind what he likes about Mexico, or think about all the blessings that there are there, as often as he can, to help him kind of get used to all the changes that there are. Because there are a lot of changes, and he did have to give up his entire life with his family, to move to Mexico to be with Armando. But I just think these are normal growing pains in a relationship, especially when somebody moves to a different country to be with somebody. I still think that this is a great couple, and I still think that they are a couple that's going to last. And I'm still team Kenny and Armando. Jenny and Sumit. Last night's episode, Jenny and Sumit go to meet with his divorce lawyer, and he explains all the ins and outs, and that yes, divorce can take a long time in India, but it probably won't take a long time for them to get a divorce or for Sumit to get a divorce, because both parties agree. So there's that. But then he does tell them that when they want to get married, they have to apply for like a marriage certificate. And I think there's a 30-day waiting period, and his parents have to approve it. Ooh, that was the air right out of the tires on that one. I don't think they're going to approve it. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. Now, is there a reason that he can't just come to America? There's probably a reason that I don't know. But I'm just thinking, oh shoot, I just don't see them being able to get married. And maybe they're okay with just being together without being married, but I don't think his parents are going to say yes. And then she says that she thinks that they're upset about her taking his virginity. And I thought, wait, what? She did? Okay. No, he married her after Jenny. It was an arranged marriage that his parents forced him into. Well, that was my thing. How old is he? I mean, I know things are different here, but yeah, that's what she said. Then they go to have like a kind of like a picnic, and he wants her to meet his friends and his friends' wives, which sounds wonderful on paper, but then the friends' wives don't show up. It turns out their wives don't agree with the two of them being together. Now, Jenny and Sumit don't seem to care, but That would really bother me. I think that it's important that your significant other's friends like you and support your relationship, because there's going to be times when the person you're with, maybe you guys are having issues, because that'll happen in any relationship, and they're going to have to talk to their friends to kind of, am I being a jerk here, or is it just me, was I in the wrong, that kind of stuff. And if their friends don't support your relationship, they're always going to take the other person's side. They're never going to say that you were the one that might be right. And I don't know that they're going to be as fair when it comes to you and the relationship, trying to talk out problems with your spouse. So I don't know. I just think, I mean, I get it. And in an ideal world, all of your spouse's friends will like you. In a realistic world, hopefully most or some of them will. But to have none of them care for you, or none of their wives care for you, I don't know. Because just even in my life, Brad has talked to his friends' wives about issues that we've had in the past, and luckily they like me. If they didn't, it really wouldn't have worked in my favor. So, and then she says that she's worried that he's going to be pressured to go back and live with his parents. I guess that's a legitimate fear, although at this point, with all he's given up to be with her, you would think that she would feel somewhat secure. I don't know. I don't know what to think about these two. I'd love to hear what you think, though. So please let me know down in the comments. Deavan and Jihoon. All right, in last night's episode, Jihoon is talking to his mother. And he tells her that Devan's leaving and why. And she says, now this is very strange to me, but maybe things are just different in Korea. I don't know. She says that it's normal to tell little lies before you're in a relationship, especially before you're married, that men do that all the time. And I'm thinking, that'd be a deal breaker for me, but okay. But she says once a guy gets married, then he has to grow up and stop lying to the woman in his life. I'm confused. Are they not married? Pretty sure they're already married, so I don't know where that's coming from. But to me, once again, maybe it's me and my American thought process, these aren't little lies, though. These are pretty big, epic lies. Here in America, money is the number one cause of divorce. So if somebody's lying to you about money and you're married to them or planning on marrying them, it's probably not going to turn out that good. That's kind of a big lie. It's not like he said, no, you don't look fat in those shorts, and maybe she did. That's a little lie. A big lie is lying about things like money and what job you have. That's a huge deal. How is that okay with anybody? Never mind the fact that even if I want to excuse it and say, okay, maybe that's just how men are in Korea, his friends already said that Korean men aren't like that. So, I don't know, guys. Then she says it's time for him to snap out of it. And it's time for him to change. And she says, if you're embarrassed by something, you shouldn't do it to begin with. I 100% agree with her on that part. He really should snap out of it. And he really shouldn't do things that he's embarrassed by. It's a lot easier to be honest with people if you have the ability to think about whether or not you would be embarrassed by something before you do it. Then you do it, you're not embarrassed by it, you don't have to lie about it. It's so much easier to live your life that way. My grandma used to say, if you're not okay with me hearing about something you did, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Now, I'll admit, my grandma was a very free thinker. So there are some things that I wouldn't have been embarrassed to tell her that most people would be embarrassed to tell their grandparents. But with that in mind, she had a good point. If it was something that she wouldn't be okay with, I wouldn't do it. And I never have, and it works out really well for me. I don't feel like I have to lie. So next week, I'm thinking we're going to see Tim and Melyza finally reunite, maybe see what happens there, or maybe they just won't show them at all. They seem to be doing that a lot with certain couples. Let's see, Brittany and Yazan. Let's see, what do I think will happen next week? I think Brittany and Yazan will have a bunch of arguments in his car. I know, that was the easy thing. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a lot of arguing. I just don't see these two working out. Kenny and Armando, I did see in the previews for next week a little bit of Kenny feeling frustrated that he couldn't show public displays of affection with Armando, so we'll see what happens with that. So there might be a little bit of friction with them on the next episode. I'm still not worried about them as a couple, but it's just something people go through. Let's see. Jenny and Sumit. If I were to just guess here, there's probably she's going to find out that he lied to her about something else. And then Deavan and Jihoon. I think he's probably going to go to her next week, tell her that he's sorry and that he's not going to lie to her anymore. And he's probably going to do a really good apology, and she's just going to forgive him and not leave. And then if I were to guess, his mother is probably going to step in and help them get an apartment that's nice. So what do you think is going to happen next week? Am I right? Am I wrong? Why? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I hope that your week until next week's episode is wonderful. Tomorrow, I am going to have a thrifting finds video. On Friday, I will have a Dollar Tree review video. And then on Saturday, I have a Ep8 unboxing and try-on video. And then next Monday, I have another vlog video. And then, of course, on Tuesday, I will have a 90-day Fiance the Other Way recap video. Bye.